Hey everyone, it's Brad at Hope to Prosper, and I'm at Indiana Dunes National Park. So I'm really excited about that today. I'm going to take you along and show you what we got in store. But basically, I'm going to hike the dunes today. All right, have a great day. First hike of the day was the Central Avenue Beach Trail, and it's a short hike. You drive up to a parking lot through the forest, and then basically you're pretty close to the beach. I would say it was no more than a couple hundred yards from where I parked, and it's a pretty little point. You have like a bluff top overlooking the beach, and then a nice beach down below. A great view, and I'm sure that this place in the summer is probably pretty popular. It was a late fall day, so I just saw a couple people. But there in the background, that's Michigan City, Indiana. That's where I spent the night. You can see the power plants they're kind of ugly, but the city itself is pretty. There's the ranger. I had a chat with him, and he told me the places to go and visit and see. And so that was cool. I appreciated that from him. And then here it is, just the view from the bluff. I walked down to the beach, but I didn't get any footage of it. But the bluff top is a really pretty view. And that's Lake Michigan. It sure looks like an ocean with all the sand and stuff, but that's just a lakefront. My next hike was at Mount Baldy Dune, and this is the Mount Baldy Dune Trail. This one has a little more length, and then there's forest involved, so this hike was probably about a third to a half mile. It took me about 10-15 minutes to walk through the little forest to the beach, and there was a couple overlooks, and then there was a big beach access. And then Mount Baldy, that's one of the higher dunes. It's also the one that's the closest to Michigan City. It's the easternmost part of the park. So I was walking up to this little viewpoint, and there was a guy up there. I didn't realize till I got a little closer. From the smell, it looked like he was having a happy smoke break up there, and I kind of interrupted his little thing. I felt bad about it later, but it is a national park, so I kind of interrupted him, but it is what it is. There's people everywhere. So there's two overlooks and a fork trail, and then a beach access from here. And you can get down to the beach from here, but the overlooks are a little sketchier than the main beach trail, so I just decided to check it out and check all the overlooks. Once again, this is the closest part of the park to Michigan City. You can see it over there. And so I just went and checked out the overlook, then I backtracked around, and the beach access is off to the left. So this is the Mount Baldy Trail, and the Mount Baldy Dune Trail, I'm sorry. And it's just part of the whole park. The whole park, it goes along the coast. It's about 20 miles wide, and it's kind of weird. There are, in the middle of the national park, there is private land, and then you go national park, and then private land and national park. And so sometimes you're in the roads in the city, sometimes you're in the national park. It's kind of dispersed out. And the whole park, it runs from just near Michigan City in the east all the way to Gary, Indiana in the west. So I think it's probably about 35-40 miles of different little locations, and you just go from place to place. This is the visitor center. It's on the other side of the highway from the dunes, and it's about in the middle. So I'm sorry I didn't get any footage of the inside. This is West Beach, and this is one of the biggest places. This is the place where they have a guard check, and you actually have to show your ID or pay to get in. And it's a busy place. I decided to hike the Dune Secession Trail, and that was about 2.5 miles. And it was cool. It was a combination of boardwalks and beach, and it was kind of fun. There's a lot of elevation change for this area. All those flags were because there was a Patriot Run coming up in the next day, and I got there one day before. So you go up, then you descend all the way down, then you go all the way back up on these boardwalks. And this was a fun trail. So one of the history of the trail is there was a lady there. They called her Diana of the Dunes, and her real name was Alice Gray. And in 1915, she left Chicago. She was upset about the prices and renting and taxes, and she just came to the Michigan shore in Indiana, and she lived there, kind of subsistence, fishing and doing things of that sort. So the locals called her Diana the Dunes, but her name was Alice Gray, and she lived in this area. One of the dunes is called Diana's Dune, and so this trail went around this area where she lived, and as subsistence like 100 years ago. So that was a neat part of the park. I really enjoyed West Beach. It was like I said, it was a more developed part of the park, probably one of the center parts of the park, even though it was on the edge. And it was fun. It was a fun hike. It was pretty. There was some forest. There was some walkway. There was some beach. And all in all, it was a neat time. So here I am getting to the beach finally. Once again, this is part of the Patriot Run, so you can see all the flags are here. And this was one of the more crowded places on the beach. I didn't take a picture, I didn't take videos of a lot of the people, but there were people laying out and people, walking and just having a good time. I'm sure in the summer this place is packed because it looked like a cool place to hang out. But that is West Beach right there. And like I said, it's probably just a mile or two from Gary, Indiana. I walked down to the ocean shore, but I didn't have any trunks or towel, and so I decided not to go in. I didn't know how cold it was. Looked inviting. There was a bunch of people out there. Probably wasn't that cold. Probably was perfect. Here's the Life Tower and the main stairway on West Beach, and then in the back you can see there are a bunch of buildings and stuff. I think there's probably some shops or restaurants that are open in the summer, but since it was fall, it was kind of quiet. There was a bunch of people on the other side of that stairway, but I didn't video them and left them with their own privacy. Now here I am walking back to my car from West Beach, and it was really pretty. All the plant life was really stunning. I don't know how native this is and how much it's built up or planted up, but it was a pretty walk back to the car, and it was a great way to end my time in Indiana Dunes National Park. It's a great place. You got to come. If you're in the area at all, it's worth going. I know it's one of the smaller national parks. Okay, that's a wrap at Indiana Dunes National Park. It was a lot of fun. Went hiking a couple places. It's pretty spread out. Like, I'm in West Beach now. That's like 10 miles from the visitor center and 20 miles from Central Beach. So you kind of got to drive along the coast and hit all these little places, but it's worth it. Beautiful hike. It's really nice how the sand dunes just go right into the ocean, and then there's forest on the edge of that. So beautiful place. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you enjoyed the footage. So next big adventure, I'm driving to Green Bay tonight. I'm going to hang out in Green Bay, check out the stadium and stuff. But the next big adventure, I'm driving through the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, and then I'm going to drive on to what they call the Mitt, and I'm going to check out the lighthouses in Lake Michigan. That's something my buddy Rob wanted to do, so I'm going to do that, and I think that's going to make for some really pretty photography. So that's our next big adventure, the lighthouses in Michigan. All right, thanks for coming along. I wish you all health, happiness, and prosperity in your lives, and we'll see you in a couple days on our next big adventure.